I 28F and my 29M husband of 8 years are taking a beating from life. He needs me, but I don't want to do anything but lay in bed since the death of a loved one. Okay, a little background. We have a pretty complex life and list of daily duties. On top of our regular life stuff, we have livestock to care for during a northern winter. So there are a lot of things that cannot get left undone. Normally I would say my husband and I are pretty damn stress resistant. We have lived through some pretty serious shit, from losing important people in tragic ways to near-death experiences. We have always been hyper-communicative and close because of these experiences, and we tend to live like every year could be our last. Normally when bad things happen, they seem to hit one of us way harder than the other. Even if we are both devastated by something, it seems like one of us copes by helping the other. That is not how it is this time. My husband is battling a really terrible chronic illness that leaves him in a ton of pain. Things in our life are about to get way harder, and most of our life is going to fall on me until he recovers from some procedures, but since the death of this person it feels like I've been gut shot. Even when I know things are important and time sensitive, I could just lay in bed looking at the wall while time slides by for hours. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. My husband gets understandably frustrated. He needs me. There are things he literally can't do. He gets scared that this will be how I am when he can't do anything at all. When he pushes me, I get resentful and snap at him in a way that is totally out of character. He has been pretty shut down emotionally because of the pain. It feels like our interactions have whittled down to what needs to be done. We both verbalized that we need more from one another, and the conversation just ended with us both crying together on the couch, committing to trying to do better but not being sure that either of us had anything left to give. How do we pull out of this nosedive without losing our lives? Too long didn't read. I don't want to do anything after the death of a loved one. My husband's illness and our life circumstances have doubled my responsibilities. Edit, spelling. You cannot pour from an empty cup. It sucks. It hurts. But you have nothing to give him until you can scrape up enough to take care of yourself. Likewise, you cannot expect more of him than he has to offer right now. It sucks too. Right now, he needs his energy for himself until you can get back up. I actually really recommend looking into antidepressants. They can be prescribed by a GP, not a specialist, and there are many generics. It can take a few tries to find one that works for you, but even a low-dose one can make a huge difference in the physical side of depression: low energy, wrecked sleep schedule. I talked to my doc. She told me that oftentimes people with depression that was caused by an incident really just need a little medical helping hand for a couple months. Actual long-term mental illness sufferers likely have to stay on them for life, but since this has a discrete, pinpointable cause, you shouldn't need that. Think of it like wearing an air cast on a badly twisted ankle. All it really needs is a bit of support and it'll heal on its own. But that bit of support makes a huge difference on the amount of pain. Former therapist here. What you're experiencing is normal, but it sounds like it's beginning to interfere with your daily functioning. I urge you to see a psychiatrist who may be able to prescribe a low-dose antidepressant for a short amount of time just to get you through this incredibly difficult time. This is quite common and can be very helpful just to get back on track. Also encourage you to get connected with a therapist who offers sliding scale fees. Use psychtoday.com to search for providers near you who offer teletherapy, if you want phone or video instead of in-person sessions. Another tip to keep costs down is to seek out master's level clinicians, LMHC, LCSW, LMSW, LPC, etc., instead of psychologists, Doctor of Psychology, PhD, as the master's level therapists will have lower rates. That said, I worked with a practice of therapists, and even our psychologist, who normally charges $375/hour, would take a handful of sliding scale clients at $100/hour. You just have to ask them if they're flexible and let them know what you're able to pay. There's no shame in asking. Also know that medication and talk therapy are both more effective when used together versus separate. Hope that helps. Good luck. You strike me as both being so committed and loving, just overburdened by the stresses and demands that fate and misfortune have dumped on you. You're both only human, and entitled to feeling now and then that you just cannot cope. At times like these, you need the help of external others, hopefully family and friends who care for you both. Is there anyone accessible that you can call upon? I cannot stress this enough. Grief counseling. If it's even remotely feasible, find someone who will do remote sessions with you. You need support from a professional right now. Also, it's worth talking to your doctor. Sometimes, antidepressants can be really helpful in the short term, when things feel impossible. Good luck. I actually am wondering if I'm depressed. That's what this is. Where are you located? Here in Germany, the farmers community provides a service through which families in situations of dire need such as yours receive a helping hand for a couple of weeks, months, a professional, skilled housekeeper or farmer who will stay with you until you've gotten back up on your feet. Smile. My boyfriend doesn't want to move in with me and it's breaking my heart. Hi everyone, this has been bothering me for some time and I don't know what to do. Some context, I, 23F, have been with my BF, 28 meters, for a little over 2 years. For the most part we are really happy with each other. The only thing that is really a nuisance to me is that we need to travel 45 minutes to an hour to see each other. I live alone, my BF has a roommate. Now onto my problem. We spend all of our free time together. We both have a set of clothes at the other's apartment and we share grocery expenses. Basically we already live together. But when I suggested moving in together last year he refused. He didn't give me a solid reason and I was really hurt. It wasn't until I confronted him again a few months later that he told me he didn't want to give up his apartment. He just feels very at home there. To be fair, it's located in a pretty sweet spot in our city. But the apartment itself is not that great. It's tiny, there is no space for anything and his furniture is falling apart. He also doesn't want to ask his roommate to move out. She is really nice and I like her, so I get that. So now I'm stuck here. Whenever I'm trying to talk to him about moving in together he changes the subject. I don't try that often, but it's really weighing heavy on my heart. My BF is just not ready to compromise. I understand that everybody needs their time to take that step. But we already spend all of our time together. We already live together without sharing an apartment. It just seems to be the next logical step for me. I also believe that we would both benefit financially from it. He just won't budge, and it's breaking my heart. I even started looking for apartments in his area, but due to the pandemic I'm unable to afford one for myself since I earn less and he lives in a more expensive neighborhood than I do. And I think it would be a waste of money and energy to move to another place only for myself. I just can't bring myself to it. I love him and I just wanna live with him so bad. Any suggestions on what to do? Should I give him more time? Should I keep pressing the subject? Too long didn't read. Me and my BF spend all of our time together but he doesn't want to move in with me because he doesn't want to ask his roommate to move out or leave his apartment. He doesn't even want to talk about it and I'm heartbroken about this. I think the bigger issue isn't necessarily the living situation but perhaps your overall goals and plans for the relationship. Yes, you've been together for 2 years but you are still really young. You two need to have a talk about the trajectory of your relationship. Maybe you want marriage and kids and he doesn't want that. Maybe he's just worried that you are young and as you grow, you two will grow apart and so he's hesitant to move in. Or maybe he's an introvert and just really needs space to recharge by himself. Moving in together is a huge commitment, and for many it is one step away from being engaged. I lived with a boyfriend in the past and the breakup was so much harder, and I promised myself that I would never move in again unless I was seriously considering marriage. He may have seen friends or family in a similar situation, or maybe he isn't ready for such a big step. It isn't something to do out of convenience or pressure. I know it's hurtful but it doesn't mean he doesn't love you or value the relationship. It's a reasonable boundary. It just seems to be the next logical step for me. This isn't a question of logic. Logic doesn't enter into it. It's a question of being emotionally ready for that kind of commitment, and he's just not emotionally ready for it. It won't help you to ask for reasons or to rebut with practical concerns. He's shutting down those conversations because you're not hearing what he's saying. I didn't live with my partner until we were together for 5 years for this reason. I wasn't emotionally ready. My guy was. But the difference is, while he wanted it, he was also happy with us as it was and felt secure without it until I was ready. I think you need to talk to him about how he sees this relationship. Does he see this going the long way? What is his timeline for your relationship to progress? Time for an honest conversation. Is he just not ready? Does he not want to cohabitate at all? Is he content with where things are and never intend to progress? Is this all you can expect from the relationship? Then you can make an informed choice whether staying in the relationship works for you or not, depending on his intentions and desires. What should I, 24F, expect of my boyfriend, 25M, financially? Below boat the day I fucked up. People of Reddit. I am here today because I need some unbiased advice. Even though I recognize this is totally biased because you're only receiving my half of the story, but I'll do my best to give all of the facts. So my boyfriend 25 meters and I, 24F, have been together for almost 3 years now. When we first met and started dating, he was a full-time college student and I was working full-time. I mainly paid for everything for the first year while he finished school, and there were times I would Venmo him money so he could buy groceries or go out with his friends. I didn't mind. I enjoyed being able to take care of us so we could do fun things and eat food other than top ramen lol. Recently the tables have turned. We live together and I am now going to school full-time and he is working full-time. I'm in a little financial predicament because I was laid off from my part-time job due to COVID and have been struggling to find a new one. I have been driving for Postmates and picking up side gigs when I can to make ends meet. From what he tells me, he is in a great place financially. He has been able to save thousands during this pandemic and I'm nothing but happy for him. I've seen him go from a struggling college student to a hard-working man and it makes me so proud. Unfortunately, I can't help but be a little hurt because he knows of my financial place. I would never expect him to cover me for rent or bills, but I'm wondering if I'm wrong wishing he would cover us on things like dates or other miscellaneous things. He expects me to split the bill and even completely cover things. For example, if I'm grabbing coffee or food with a friend, he will want me to bring him something and not pay me back, which I totally wouldn't mind if I had the funds to do so. I know it was my choice to spend money on him in the beginning of our relationship and I shouldn't expect things from people, but I can't help feeling like I deserve some reciprocation in this situation. Let me know your advice on how to handle this and thank you for listening. TDLR, I paid for my boyfriend and I to go on dates and events while he was in college. Even gave him spending money from time to time. Now the positions have switched and I am a full-time college student and lost job due to COVID, but he still expects me to split the tab or even completely cover it. Seeking advice on this situation. There's an older movie called Joy Luck Club that explores this issue somewhat. You sound as if you have a pretty good sense of self-worth, but still I'd encourage you to take a look if you can. My guess is your BF may be pretty entitled. I surely would not want to invest more in a relationship that will never be equitable. If he asks you to bring him something, tell him you don't have enough money. Ask him to Venmo you the amount. If he wants to go out and expect you to split the bill, suggest making top ramen at home, because that's what you can afford. Has he just gotten used to you being able to spend money, and doesn't realize that you're struggling? Have you talked about your financial situation? Do you think he is clueless? Or do you think he's selfish? Yep, exactly this. At best he's clueless and has got so used to having money he assumed she has savings / doesn't realize how much her financial situation has changed. At worst he's selfish enough to nickel and dime her after her generosity with him. Your suggestions here will rapidly reveal which one it is. Either he'll wake up and start pitching in more, or you've confirmed he's selfish.